Welcome to the Be You Brand podcast. I am your host, Ati Greenspan, and if you're looking to build $1 million personal brand, sell out your services, and do it all while living your best life and fulfilling your purpose, you come to the right place. Welcome aboard, my friend. I just finished recording an amazing, super juicy episode with Julie Tran. She is a marriage coach for coaches, entrepreneurs, and healers. It was such an amazing conversation because it goes back to the family unit, right? Like having the support at home that you need to actually build this business of your dreams. And as me having a husband that is super supportive, but that at the beginning he was doubtful, he didn't know where this was going to go. This conversation is full of takeaways you can start using with your husband today. Enjoy it. And if you love it, I would love for you to share on your Instagram stories, leave us a review. And without further ado, here's the episode. Welcome, everybody, to the Be You Brand podcast. I am so excited about this conversation with my guest, Julie Tran, because I believe that behind every successful woman, there is literally a village. I will actually go deeper. I think that is a husband that is rooting for her. And this is definitely my case. And I know that it wasn't always pretty and beautiful. And we had to overcome doubt and all the things for him to support me in my dreams and how I'm building my business. Today, I have Julie, who is a marriage coach for women entrepreneurs. Hi, Julie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. So glad to be here.
Yes, I am so excited. So I'm actually going to go right in because I think it's going to be so freaking juicy. Why marriage coaching for women business owners?
First of all, I was a total accident. I was in corporate for 15 years, but I became a marriage coach because I, by necessity, saved my own marriage. I was your typical high achieving go-getter, had a lot of success in my corporate career, but at home, my marriage was falling apart. We were constantly butting heads. Like we were both leaders and we wanted to both take the lead on everything in life. So it was like this tug of war. And it left our relationship feeling like not a safe place. It felt like we were walking on eggshells because we just didn't feel supported by one another, even though we desperately wanted to be there and be the safe space for our partners. We just didn't know how. And we got to a place where there was so much resentment in our relationship that I almost filed for divorce. I think we almost separated like 3 times. In that last time that we hit rock bottom, I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to fully take responsibility for how I show up in my marriage. No more 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because that's what I was doing without realizing it. Because I made that declaration, I went all in on working on myself and showing up in the type of partner that I would want to be with.
That resonates a ton because I think one of the things that resonated with me, you just said I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I've never been 1 foot in, 1 foot out with my husband. However, when I started my business, I remember thinking like, what is going to happen if he doesn't support me? Like in the future, if he doesn't understand where I'm going, are we going to grow apart? That was such a fear of mine.
So like the way I like to think about it is our relationship could either be the wind beneath our wings or literally like chains holding us back. Because we know how much, especially as heart-led entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers, we have a vision for the world, for our business, for ourselves. And we know how much we can fly and help other women fly with us. But we don't feel the safety of the support at home, like in our root chakra or the root chakra of your home, then you're constantly going to be feeling weighed down.
I want to say something because I work with so many women, right? Like when we are working in their business and their brand and stuff like that. One of the biggest things that women sometimes are feeling held back by is, what is my husband going to think?
Mm-hmm.
That lack of authenticity, right? Because they have been for so many years playing in one role, and all of a sudden they want to step into this big version. And then I see other women that actually have the support of their partners, their husbands, and these women flourish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you fell into this like by accident, but then
Mm-hmm.
also you pivot a few times. Like you were working with all women, and recently you decided to actually work with women that have businesses, coaches, healers. But there is a reason behind that. What I know, like you are a super high achiever. So what did you see that was lacking behind these high achieving women that you were like, this is why their success is not going to the next level and it can
Yeah.
be fixed in their marriage? Because I know we talked about these outside of camera. You and I talked about this, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was super interesting.
So I have an example to share with you. I actually worked with a coach in the past, amazing woman. She actually helped me on my marriage, actually. And she's no longer coaching because she and her husband are going through very challenging times. I know a little bit of her story. She's an amazing woman, but she doesn't feel supported at home. So she had to pivot. She had to choose something else, another income source, because her husband doesn't
Yeah.
get her. It makes me sad because she is phenomenal. And so she's actually dimming her light, trying to put other things in place to just make her
Yeah.
life work. But actually, if she was shining bright from the support and the love that she felt at home with, feeling like her husband gets her and is rooting for her, she would be shining. She would still be coaching because she would be in integrity with what
Yeah.
she's coaching to her
Yeah.
clients. So I see that. I see that all the time. I see a lot of women.
Actually,
Yeah.
I've seen women. I actually have an example of this. Somebody came to me, she was going through a separation. She grew her business, left her 9 to 5. Her business was doing awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the conversation of the table of getting back together. And one of the conditions of her partner was for her to go back to 9 to 5. And
Mm,
she did. I felt so sad because she actually put so much work, so much money. She was amazing. She was actually a bookkeeper. She still works in that realm, but they couldn't come to terms with what their life would look like if
mm-hmm.
she had the business. So she literally took all her dreams, put them down because they're together, they're happy. But I'm like, are you really happy?
But when I hear that, what I hear is that on the surface, it may look like a logistical thing. But really, when you peel back the onion and go underneath, it's actually that your husband feels like he's not a priority anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, that was exactly it.
Mhm.
Because the conversation in this particular people where you're always working and you're sitting in your computer, but she was doing that on her 9 to 5 too.
It's the way he felt around her. That's what I coach women on. I peel back the onion and get women more aware of the energy they are creating in their relationship. In any given moment, you can create an energy of trust, of love, even when you're busy,
Yeah.
even if you're killing it at work, right? And respect, or you can create an energy of separation and conflict. When you're aware of this, you can tune your energy. How I coach my clients is energetics and practical. You get very self-aware of exactly where your energy is at, how you're communicating. So if you're communicating something like, can you help me with the kids? But you're saying it from a place of resentment. If your energy is not purified and it's coming from blame, then of course you're going to get pushback from your husband. So I help women purify their energy and have the structure to make a request in a way that their husband's, oh, I feel seen.
I get it.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And he wants to be a yes for you. And then you compound that one moment after another into a beautiful, solid relationship.
Hearing you say this, one of the things that's coming to me is the huge personal growth of that journey, because you're helping them to put this in place with their husband. You're helping these women grow into a better understanding, forgiving, loving version of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Where we're not coming from a place of you're the one doing the things wrong. Okay, what's my responsibility here? What is my energy? What can I do about it?
Absolutely. And
I have a question for you. I want to put this out there because my husband is amazing. I truly, in my heart, I'm going to go back. If you never heard my story, go back to the beginning of my podcast. But my husband was actually one that was like, you need to quit your job. I don't think I would be where I'm at today without him. Because every time I doubted myself, he has been there to tell me, hello, you can do this. Hello, you got this. Even recently with the whole event, I was like doubting, and is that a doubt from fear, or that a doubt from this, or you truly don't want to do it? He was putting all these questions in front of my head. I was so fucking mad, not at him, but like at the process that I needed to become. And I think that women don't realize what they're leaving on the table when they're putting this separation between them and their husbands. And that's one of the reasons I decided to bring you on, because I think that everybody deserves that relationship.
Yeah, and thank you for seeing the value in that. It is so important.
I'm a huge believer of the family union. I'm a family girl through and through. It's about me. I don't believe in being one foot in, one foot out. Like, you can't just be there. So this is amazing. But I want to ask you a question. What are the skills that women need to learn in order to actually bring this to their homes or have a thriving marriage that they're so fucking excited to have?
Yeah. So your story and your relationship with your husband is like such a perfect transition into this, because you created an environment, a cocoon around you where your husband wants to show up for you. You did a lot of the inner work. So I
do. I'm going to say something very vulnerable. My husband and I, we've been together almost 20 years. And this was before entrepreneurship. I was constantly nagging. I remember my husband told me, you do not need to do this. I want to do these things for you. By behaving like this, it's annoying. I actually don't want to do them. This was years ago. And I realized he was there. I didn't need to ask him to be there. He was already there. That it was whatever insecurities I have. It was whatever fears I was having. I was like, oh, it's me. And the moment I had the awareness, it was the beginning, but then everything started to work out.
So a lot of times the love is there and is available, but we block it because of our own limiting beliefs, our own childhood upbringing, the way that we were taught or we were shown love or not shown love when we were younger.
You can coach me. Those are the best examples, right? Yeah. For me, this showed up when I started my business. I didn't know how to ask for money. So when we had to sit down and make decisions, okay, I'm going to quit. We had to recreate this whole economic sense, if you want to call it, to make this work the first few years. And I felt like a trapped cat because I was making so much money in my previous career. You can probably relate to this. I never had to ask for money. We even made some investments where I was lending him money. Mm-hmm. And then the whole thing reversed. He got this thing at work where he was making 3 times what I was making. And then I started the business. So I was at 0 for a while. And I was dying inside until one day he was like, there is no you and me. This is us. And there was such a growth. So let's get into the skills.
In your relationship, thank you for sharing that. It's such a beautiful testimony of how things can be. Now, I'm going to share a different scenario where you don't necessarily feel like you have a partner. We both come with baggage into the relationship. The baggage that I came with was that I'm alone. No one's going to be there for me. I have to do everything myself. That's the baggage I came with. My husband's baggage is that nothing he does is ever enough. When we married each other, we were marrying these wounds and we had no idea. We never did personal development. There's a level of coming into the relationship, having compassion for yourself that you had these wounds and that it's not your fault. You're in this healing space. As you heal yourself, you are healing your husband as well, because you're learning how to create a safe space in your body. You're learning to feel good and safe at home in your body, know what you want, know how you feel, know how to be a sovereign human being, right? And as you do that, you're actually helping your husband heal as well. Because let's be honest, no one is perfect. He has his
Well,
triggers.
one thing that kills me all the time is that I might do a joke or something about my husband. Like we hear this in our family or whatever, people complaining about their wife or their husband all the time. My husband and I, we do not do that.
Yeah.
We're like always, no, that's a no.
So we used to do that all the time. Me and my husband and I, we used to throw each other under the bus, and we just thought it was like a funny dig. But I realized how toxic that was.
It's
And
so
so
toxic.
I put a stop to that. And it took time because that was a pattern that we had. It's actually a great example of how you as the wife, without your husband doing the work, can start creating a culture change in your relationship. The first thing I want to mention is that as far as the skills, it's first the mindset that you both have baggage, right? And as you heal, he heals. And as he heals, you heal. You're like this healing, weaving, like woven tapestry, and that you're dancing together.
Yeah.
Your husband's not perfect and you're not perfect. So just having compassion for each other,
Okay, you just
is like
said
such a
something.
beautiful place to start.
They said, he's not perfect, you're not perfect. I think there is such a truth to sometimes as women, as moms, we're busy and feel like we're doing it all. We feel like we're doing everything right. I see these all the time. And I sometimes stop myself from, I'm not the only one doing shit here. I feel sometimes like it is, but then I stop and I look around. No, that is not true.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
So it's like having the orientation of compassion, right? Now, that compassion is misunderstood because we think of compassion as having this huge open heart and getting stepped all over. That's not compassion. Compassion is really just keeping your heart open and also advocating for yourself, your husband, and your marriage. So I like to break it down. My framework is called the Inspire Method because we're not trying to control our husband, trying to get him to change. I've tried to do that and I have failed.
Girl, you can't change. You are not gonna. This is such a good parallel for coaches and healers because you're not going to change your clients. Your clients need to want to change themselves.
That's why I love this. I'm in love with my framework. So are my clients because it's so transferable from your husband to your clients and the people you want to attract to your field.
Break it down for me.
Let me break it down. So I'm going to give you the cliff notes. How do you inspire someone while empowering yourself? First, you have to understand how you feel. Most women find that they can't be authentic. They can't really express how they feel in their marriage. And then there's resentment, right? The problem is most women don't know how they really feel. Like, I feel really angry right now. I feel really hurt by what you just said. I feel alone. Just saying those words is so powerful. And it's especially needed for women who are into personal development because we are taught to just gloss over it with positive thinking. No, that doesn't bother me. I'm fine. Yeah. It's a practice. I know for me, it's an ongoing practice because I have the people pleaser syndrome that I'm constantly working through. People pleasing shows up as everything's fine, but it's not.
It also shows up in business when maybe something's wrong at home and then you have to show up on your business, but you're carrying the emotions, right? One of the things that really resonates is for me, one of my biggest practices is I do a lot of meditation and breath work and stuff like that. But lately, one of the things have been sitting with whatever I feel before I even do breath work, before I even do anything. So it's kind of meditation. It's okay, what is present here for me right now? And actually write it down, give it a voice. Because again, what we're doing is we're putting it under the rug and then we explode. And who's the first person you're going to explode with? Your husband.
Closest to you. Yeah. So it sounds simple, right? But it actually requires deeper work. And I go through that with my clients. I teach them how to do that in my coaching program, which I can talk about more later. The first step is being honest with how you feel and vocalizing how you feel. And now there's an art to it. You don't say, I feel like you're judging me. I feel like you're criticizing me.
Oh, yes. You're not making it like you're not guilting anybody.
Nope. It's you taking ownership of your feelings. That's how you begin to inspire and open your husband's heart. That is the power of the feminine queen energy inside of you, being able to open your husband's heart through your own vulnerability without making him wrong.
This is the piece. I wanted to repeat it.
Oh, do you want me to repeat that part?
So it's like,
Yeah.
how do you actually express your feelings without guilting the other person?
Yes, because what usually happens is we get so wrapped up in the story of we're right and they're wrong. How could they not see things our way? How could they say things that way and not say it the way we would say it? When you break it down, if you just give your feeling a voice so that you can be heard, then you start creating connection. That's how you inspire your husband to show up and be a partner with you. We, especially as women entrepreneurs, especially as high achievers, think that we have this perception, at least I did, that your value is in how much you do, how efficient you can be, how productive you can be, how much you can do for the family. But that doesn't actually inspire your husband's heart.
This is all things that we need to work on our own, but then we bring into the relationship.
Yeah.
So the Inspire methods, is it like an INS or no?
Yes. Inspire has 7 letters, if I'm counting correctly. This is a short podcast, so I'm not going to go through it all, but I'm just going to give you the cliff notes. Basically, it's a 7-step methodology. The cliff notes are, first step is I feel, being really authentic with how you feel and vocalizing it. Step 2, I see. What are you seeing with your husband? Of course, it's not about us. This is all about the bigger picture. But does your husband feel seen? So even if he says to you, so I'll give you an example. My client said to me the other day, I'm so proud of her. She took a situation that could have gone like off the rails with her husband and turned it into gold. She said to him, hey, can you get me some ice cream? And then he says, are you sure you want that? Because you said you were going to go on a diet. She checked herself. She's like, okay, I feel hurt by that. And I see that you're trying to help me. Thank you. That's it. You see your husband's highest intention, right? Again, inspiring him.
She could have gone, are you saying I'm fat? Are you saying I need to go on a
Totally.
diet? The truth is that would be because of how she's feeling, has nothing to do with what he's trying to do.
Even if there was a tinge of criticism, you don't have to pour a ton of your energy into that. You can still focus on his higher intention.
I love this.
Yeah, that's called being, this is what I coach my clients on. This is how you be a creator of your life, of your environment. You focus on more of what you want to see. Now you don't have to pretend like there was something there that didn't bother you. And that's where we go into step 3, which is making a request. What is it that you want? What do you need? So in that moment, maybe she didn't like his tone. She requested that he says it in a nicer way. Can you say it a little bit more gently so I can hear you? Boom. Then they had a beautiful night together, watching a movie, eating ice cream.
Yeah.
When it could have been like separate side of the beds, when she would carry that energy into her work and all of that stuff.
Okay. Step 4.
So those are the 3 steps I'm going to give your audience today. I don't want to overwhelm you because I could go on and on.
No, yeah, because also, let's actually.
Because that completes the cycle, right? Like I feel something that doesn't feel good. I see you that you are on my team, and this is what I need. That closes the loop, and you just empowered yourself and your partner. You just taught him how to love you.
Okay, I have questions. One of the things I've learned is I'm into the love languages and all of that. But then one of the things too is that we like being loved in a different way. So that's like the love language. But for my husband, if I show up and I'm talking about sex, he's just happy. We actually joke about this, but I don't do it in a way that it makes me happy too. So what is the difference? I know that women need more touch and talk and stuff like that. And then guys actually need more sex to feel secure and seen. So is that true, or that's like an Instagram shit?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that sex and intimacy is totally underrated in marriage, especially if you've been married a long time. We've been conditioned to believe that sex just dies when you have a family and when you've been married a long time, right?
I know.
And that's true if you believe it. But if you fight for a different story, which is what I teach my clients all the time, you got to raise the standard in your marriage. Fight for the story that my sex life gets better and better every day. That's what you get. Because you just realign in the universe.
I'm way older than you. So I think that I can bring something to the table for my people here.
Yes,
like I'm going into 47, right? How old are you?
I'm 42. I'm turning 43.
Oh my God, no, you look like 32. You look so young.
I take care of my skin.
I swear, Yeah, I swear I did not know that. I didn't think that you were over 40. But that's why you're so wise. This is a conversation with some of my friends or acquaintances. I'm going through perimenopause, also through some health challenges. But I made it a point that I want that intimacy. I want to have date nights. We have a very busy life, opposite schedules. We have this thing where I send him the bad signal. So
I
well,
love
because
that.
we have a child and now my child goes through my phone. So he's, you and dad love Batman, don't you? But we made it because for a while I get up at 5 in the morning and there was this veil of, I don't want to bother you. But then he was coming home at 4:30 in the morning. So I didn't want to bother him. So we had a conversation around it. I was like, we have these opposite schedules. What are we going to do about it? And we created this whole game around that. And it's been so healthy for our relationship. Honestly, sometimes nothing happens. He wakes me up and we have breakfast and he goes to bed and I get up. But it created this safe space where we both can express where we're at instead of I'm going this way and you're going this way. It was a fucking uncomfortable conversation.
Oh my gosh. We could go down the rabbit hole on the topic of sex, by the way.
But because I feel like nobody talking about this, but I think that we keep ourselves like so like proper, right? Yeah. I'm not going to go on my Instagram and talk about sex, but this is what women are going through.
And I also think the conversation around sex is that it's not important when it actually really is. Culturally, for me, I'm Vietnamese. And so I'm not going to speak for all. I can't say that I'm like the spokesperson for all of Asian women, but I can understand culturally that sex is very taboo.
I'm from Argentina. My husband is from Argentina. But one of the things that we do realize is culturally in the US is still taboo. I don't think it's because you are Vietnamese.
Yeah. So I agree. So very taboo. And then on top of that, there are so many layers of cultural shame that women have. We move through the world like, okay, sex is, we can't really talk about it. You have to put it in the closet and you can't really enjoy sex that much, or you can, but you can't because it's wrong.
Oh, but if you enjoy sex, you're a whore.
There's all of this shaming. The message that I wanted to say about this is that part of the reason why we don't enjoy sex is because of, or part of the reason why we are not having sex is one, we're not prioritizing it because we're not enjoying it. Number three, we're not enjoying it because of the cultural programming that we have. And number four, those are all things that we can heal from, because what we want to do is actually have sex from a place where we enjoy it and it's pleasurable with our husbands and we feel loved and connected, instead of it being a performance, which is the way it used to be for me. Not to go deep down this rabbit hole, we can talk more about this, but I want to take it back to the love languages that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
So it's yes and no. Love language are a real thing. And no, it's not a prescription, right? My love language has changed over time. It used to be acts of service and words of affirmations. I'm going to tell you, I'm greedy. And every single one of those things now, as I've gotten to know myself more, I love gifts. I love quality time. I love physical touch. I love it all. And then there's also the journey of learning what your husband's love language is. And I don't even like to categorize. I know this is going to be controversial, but I don't even like categorizing it into a love language. How does he like to be loved? How can you create safety for him to let him know that he's your favorite person in the world?
Yeah.
The other day I was in the pool with him and we were having a team meeting on our renovation. And I was like, I know that this conversation can get spicy. So let's have some fun with this and let's go into the pool. And so we went to the pool and we started talking about the renovations. As I was hearing him talk about the timeline, I was just like, I was listening to his voice and I had never heard his voice like this before. Like I had never paid attention this deep, or where I was just so present to how much I loved his voice. He was just talking about the timeline. It was so dry, but I'm like,
but I think and I want to bring it back to the realm of entrepreneurship. For us, when we're running a business, we're so busy on our head that sometimes we forget to be present.
Yeah.
And this goes back to skills that are going to make you happy with yourself, not only with your husband.
Exactly. It makes you a more confident person. It makes you know who you are. It makes you know how to change the energy and influence, right? I said to my husband, babe, I didn't just keep it to myself. I said, babe, I just love your voice. right? Did he need that? Did he know that he needed that? I don't know, but I just said it because I just know that it would make him feel loved in the moment. So,
I love that. So I have two things that are coming to my mind. One is, when does a woman realize that she's ready to get help with her marriage, to come into a program? That's a very vulnerable space. So what are the signs?
personally, I think that marriage is the most important skill to learn, but we're just never taught this anywhere. It can appear so complicated, but don't worry, I unpacked it for everyone. So I think that we first have to start with, what do you think about marriage?
What beliefs do you
Yeah, what you
have
believe
about
of how
marriage?
exactly. I would say that getting support is helpful for anybody, because otherwise there are going to be signs down the road and it's going to be too late. But now let's go into the signs. To make it really simple and clear, how do you feel around each other? Do you feel supported? Do you feel like you have your biggest cheerleader? Do you feel connected? Do you feel like you can have hard conversations? Right? Do you feel like the most important person in his world? Does he feel like the most important person in your world? If not, what happens is you become like you're like a vessel of energy and creativity. Your channel becomes blocked, right? Your energy gets leaked.
Constantly worrying.
You're
Like
constantly
when your
worrying.
relationship is not going well or something is happening, you're constantly worrying, and you
Yeah.
have that. We're not perfect. We went through crisis or whatever, and I remember trying to show up on Instagram and feeling like I had zero energy, and I'm like, I can't show up for my businesses. My life is not. It's
That's just such a perfect example of what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. When your relationship isn't in harmony, you carry that heaviness with you and you try to put on a happy face. It doesn't feel authentic. And you don't attract the clients you want, or you plateau in your business. Another business strategy may help a little bit, but really the source of this comes that your highest ROI is in your marriage.
It's in your marriage, your personal growth, and you understanding these relationships that you have around.
Yeah.
There is no other relationship as important as your husband.
Right. And
you're
to say
sleeping
that
in the same bed.
And I feel like we can say that out loud. I feel like in the entrepreneurship world, for some reason, this is just not something that we're encouraged to talk about. We can do it all. We're superwomen and we're amazing. But let's be real here. The health of your relationship determines how much you shine and how much impact that you can make.
If you think about it, a lot of us go into entrepreneurship. I left my job and a conversation had to be had. I was making 6 figures in my job. And when I was like, hey, I want to open a business, I didn't know how long it was going to take until I made money. So your biggest cheerleader to be like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's bet on you is your husband.
And if you don't have that, most women are going to be like, my husband doesn't know how to support me. That's exactly where the Inspire method and working with me comes in, because you can inspire him to be that cheerleader for you by your own personal growth, by you learning how to connect with your heart and your desires, what you want, having the confidence to speak it, and then communicate with him in a way where he hears you and wants to provide that for you.
I love this. Okay. Julie, this was such a juicy conversation. I love it so deep. This is why I love the podcast. I have a hard time when I see you at the gym and we go, hi, hello. It's so chit chat. I'm so awkward with it. But like when we have these kind of conversations, I just fucking love it. So
good.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. Would you let our listeners know where they can find you, how they can work with you? You have a few things coming up, so lay them all out for me.
Yes, the best place to find me is in my Facebook group, Thriving Marriages for Heart-Led Women Entrepreneurs. Inside the group, I do weekly workshops where we go deep. If you like this conversation, we go deep in the Facebook community. So come and check that out. I know you're going to link that in the show notes. Also, I am launching my 12-week group coaching program called Inspire Him. And again, it's going deep in all of these tools that we talked about so that you can feel more connected to what you want and how to inspire your husband to be a teammate with you and inspire him to lead with you so that you can co-create. I talk about building your business and your impact and income, but really it's about co-creating this together with your husband as a team. So what legacy do you want to build together? I had a client who, when we first started working together, she and her husband were in strife mode. She just told me in our last call, she's like, oh yeah, we're going to go into business together.
Wow.
She's like, well, I never thought in a million years we would do that. But we're just getting along so well. And I want to be a teammate with him. And because we're working on projects so well together, that is what's possible. It's not just about you anymore. It's like you get to build the legacy that you always dreamed of, because you know you can't do it alone. You do this in community with your husband, and then you get to transfer these skills to the people around you at work, your clients. You get to be in integrity with your medicine. You get to shine brighter in your medicine and attract the clients that you want. So it's like this beautiful ecosystem.
What I love about this, I think that as coaches and business owners, we talk about that ripple effect all the time. But at the end of the day, everything starts at home.
Yeah.
You are having such an amazing ripple effect on the world. Thank you, my friend, for being here. I'm going to put all the links on the show notes, and go find Julie also on Instagram. Her content is amazing, and I can't wait to see you around.
Thank you. This is amazing. Thanks, my love.
Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the Be You Brand podcast. When it comes to building a personal brand, no one size fits all. Our mindset is key, and there is a million things to learn, from social media, making videos, and tech, to storytelling and writing. So if you found this episode valuable, we would love for you to leave a review and share it. Share on your socials, your stories, and send the link to your friends, so more women can build $1 million brands by being more of who they already are. Not sure where to start on your personal brand journey? Take our profitable personal brand quiz. This quiz was created with a service-based entrepreneur in mind. It will tell you where you are at and even give you a next step for massive action. Go take the quiz and power charge your personal brand at attigreenspan.com/quiz. That is www.attigreenspan.com/quiz. You can also find the link in the show on the notes.